this is Aline White Swan. Welcome to the Mysterious Domain Movie Palace, and Merry Christmas! This is my favorite holiday, actually. I love Christmas, and I wanted to do something special. And since I didn't know what y'all wanted for Christmas, oh, you did give me one thing. My subscribers are now 5,000 of you. 5,000. I never dreamed 5,000 people would like the same movies as me. So it just shows you that we are not alone. But since I didn't know what you would want for Christmas, and I don't like a lot of Christmas horror movies, I thought I would give myself a present and share with you one of my most favorite films of all time. It's Jean Cocteau's 1946 film La Belle et la Bête, or Beauty and the Beast. I say it like that because Disney thinks they own everything that has to do with fairy tales. It's been in the public domain for 200 years, but they like to think they own everything, so I'm trying to not be, kind of heard. So inspired by a fairy tale written in the mid-1700s, Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont, Jean Cocteau wrote the screenplay and he directed this most beautiful film. And I found it in my early 20s. And, back then you really couldn't get films like you can now. In fact, I don't even know how I saw it, whether it finally came on in a film festival or something like that. You had to actually wait for things like that at that time. There were people who would show films in their houses, but they were these real, the actual real cameras. So they had the film on the reels, and I just don't know how I saw it. I knew I wanted to see it before I saw it, and when I finally did, I was like, oh, I adore this thing. And I had found a diary that Jean Cocteau had written about the experience of filming La Belle et la Bête right after World War II. So France had been devastated, so things were in a terrible state. But here's the true soul of an artist like Jean Cocteau, who is so talented. He doesn't care if the whole country had been reduced to rubble. He wants to make this film, he's going to make it. Now, he found the perfect place to film it at the Chateau de Ray. And Chateau de Ray is extremely beautiful. It has this wall with carvings of stag and hunting dogs. It has a gate. It has all these wonderful poetic things. And you can tell in the film that it's been abandoned. The garden is very unkempt. So it's a perfect place for the beast to live. And he also had very little film equipment, and the main thing I remember from the diary was that they had these things called Klieg lights, and the lights were really bright. In fact, they were so bright that people got burned from the heat of the lights. And poor Jean Marais, who's playing the beast, is in this heavy costume and he's dying in there. And so when you see his acting in this film, and he's got so much anguish pouring out of his eyes, he wasn't acting. He was really suffering, and his performance is just wonderful. And of course, he was Jean Cocteau's lover and was in many of his films. He's kind of Cocteau's muse, I suppose you could say. He is a wonderful actor. I love everything Cocteau does, though. I love all his films. I've read some of his books. Anyways, and he's just an amazing soul, I guess you could say. Yeah, he's an amazing soul. I think he was also a Freemason, because I think there's some of that symbolism going on with Jean Cocteau. So the Beast and Avenant, which is the suitor of Belle and the prince are all played by Jean Marais, and Belle is played by Josette Day, and she's very beautiful and a wonderful actress who started when she was like 5 on the stage. She's acting her whole life, and then she married some wealthy guy and she quit. You have Emilia Parali, plays one of the sisters, Felicie, and Jean Marais actually married her for 2 years. And Jean Cocteau knew about it, and who knows, right? It didn't last, and it was kind of, they just fell in love while they were working together. And then Nene, I suppose, Guermont plays the other sister, Adelaide. The brother, Ludovic, is played by Michel Auclair, and Belle's father is played by Marcel André. Now, what's interesting is the music. This thing has been put to music by Philip Glass. It was turned into an opera. Of course, Disney went and turned it into a cartoon because they had their own Beauty and the Beast, but he has to own everything. Disney has to own everything, so they made a cartoon version of La Belle et la Bête. So, hopefully I won't get a strike for this. But the music is by Georges Auric. I think the music that he wrote for this, which is the one I'm going to show, is really great. It doesn't intrude. It's not weird. It fits the story really well. But he also scored the music for Queen of Spades, which is a movie I'm definitely going to put up here next year because I love the Queen of Spades. That was a 1949 film based on a Pushkin story. And he also wrote the music for The Innocents with Deborah Kerr. I want to put that one up here. I love that film. I want to put that one up here too next year if I could get away with it. That's the one I'm not sure about. So, it's always a gamble because if I get 3 films removed in 1 year, they can delete my whole channel. So I have to be really careful. But I think La Belle et la Bête should be safe. And if you see weird, that's why I have these weird letters in the title, because I'm trying to disguise it. If Disney hadn't made a version of this, I wouldn't be worried. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this film. I hope it's a wonderful Christmassy film. It's a beautiful film. It's not like a scary film. It's a beautiful film. And it's a fantasy, and it is very gothic, and it's everything that you could ever want in a fairy tale, because I consider fairy tales really gothic, actually. So anyway, get your eggnog or your whiskey or your wine and your fruitcake or whatever it is that you have for Christmas or Christmas Eve, and let yourself escape into a beautiful fairy tale and enjoy La Belle et la Bête. Merry Christmas.